I'm Cody Sanders. I'm an ordained Baptist minister. Been involved in the Alliance of Baptists for 8 or 9 years. The Alliance has a long tradition of standing for issues of justice, not just for LGBT people, but for justice and inclusion that has included LGBT people and moved far beyond that. So it's been a place for me to feel at home, to feel like I belong, but also to grow in my understanding of the work of justice. Rightly Dividing the Word of Truth is a resource that the Alliance of Baptists and the Baptist Peace Fellowship of North America produced 10 years ago, or actually 13 years ago at this point. I think it came out first in 2000. And it was intended to be a resource for congregations on concerns of sexual orientation. And, with any conversation around sexual orientation, 10, 12 years is a long time to go by, and conversations get outdated. And so I was contacted by some folks at the Alliance and the Peace Fellowship and the Association of Welcoming Affirming Baptists probably a year and a half ago about the possibility of revising and expanding Rightly Dividing the Word of Truth to make it a resource that was relevant to the conversations churches, communities of faith were having in 2013. And so the new edition of Rightly Dividing the Word of Truth is about a 350-page resource that contains 61 articles covering not only sexual orientation this time, but also concerns of gender identity. And its intention is to resource churches to have dialogue around all of the kinds of questions that come up in communities of faith around sexual orientation and gender identity. So it contains a section on scriptural interpretation around sexual orientation and gender identity. It contains a section on theological and spirituality issues, a section on scientific and psychological issues. And then one of the most valuable pieces of the resource, I think, are the collections of personal stories from LGBTQ individuals who have come out within their faith communities, of families who have an LGBTQ member, and their story of prayerfully, discerningly, carefully coming to understand their LGBTQ son, daughter, whatever the case may be. And then a collection of about 15 congregations from around the country, and actually a few outside of the U.S., one in Halifax, Nova Scotia, a group in Sydney, Australia, all Baptist groups that have really been intentional about cultivating dialogue around issues of affirmation, inclusion, and justice for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender persons. It's a really rich part of this resource that I'm proud to have in this text.